for giving me your time and this opportunity to have this conversation with you. I'm not going to take it for granted. I just told you in about we planned all of this in less than a week,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I know how Americans can be busy. Americans are the busiest person on earth.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you so much. I always, whenever I have this conversation with people, I always like to share what I do. I know when you go out there, there are a lot of podcasts, a lot of conversation, and it's like, why this? Why do I have to start off something else? And it's just connected to my upbringing, how I encountered some level of things in life. I grew up where not a lot of people had interest in me as per what I want to do with my life. Of course, I got the social interest of course, from your parents, from your friends, but there were a lot of questions that were growing up in me. I knew it was more than this. I see people do a lot of amazing things, and I didn't find a mentor early in life that would say, "Oh, Timmy, you can do this way, you can do that this way." And what helped me through those phases in life were books, and in those books, I read the story of people that became something out of nothing, and those things just point light to my path. And it's I could just say story was one of the basic things that transformed my life. Watch movies about Mandela, about Martin, about a lot of inspiration, and it just bet that, oh, I think one of the things that will help people do is to also document the stories of people around me, people that are doing well in their space, in their industry, and let's see how this story can also help someone out there discover something about themselves. I believe stories are just reflections of a future we are not in already, but someone is there and they are telling us, oh, if you get to this place tomorrow, this is like a forecast, and you can just see the path. And of course, we don't have to grasp everything people tell us about themselves, but there will always be something we can learn from people's stories. So that's what just built this platform where I document stories of people, and I've been privileged to go as far as I could to go and get some of the amazing, great young men that are really celebrated in Nigeria to document their story, and it has always been an amazing feedback from people and of how it has enlightened their path. And I told probably about this that okay, I'm not chasing after celebrity people that have all the name and the whole world knows. I know there are amazing people that they might not be friends to media, but they have great stories that can really help people overcome a lot of things, overcome a lot of struggle in their path of becoming. And she recommended you highly, and I trust every bit of previous recommendation. I was privileged to go through your LinkedIn. I encountered your Instagram this afternoon, and I was seeing your passion, how you were so interested in not just finance, you're interested in other people's finance. And my first conversation, the first question that popped up in my head was, why are you interested in other people's finance? Like, what's your whole? I know those kind of passion will always be bet by an experience, but I don't think I want us to start with that. But that's going to be one of the conversations we're going to have on this in this episode. I just want you to give us a brief about how you how you encountered life, how life started for you. Different people have different ways. For me, it started when I entered university, and it was I see people doing great things, and I was like, I want to do something. Do I don't even know what I wanted to do, and something led to other. I read books, I connected to people I could, and I found what I really wanted to do. How did you? Let me put it straight and simple. How did you discover purpose? How was it like for you?
Awesome. And thank you for having me on your platform. It's always nice to be, to connect with people like you. So how did I discover purpose? I think it was a deep search from my early age, and and I tie back my story to connecting to mentors. So you told me a story of how you read books. I also read a lot of books and also connected with top people who are listening to their messages, and that charged me up at a very early age. So And I'll give you an example of such people. I used to attend. I used to go. I was a church. I'm still a church person. So,
Winners.
yeah, winners.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
knew
I
it.
I used to go to church a lot. And I used to listen to Bishop David Oyedepo, Bishop, David Abioye, and then a whole lot of pastors from Winners. And I remember then he used to invited Miles Muro. That's when I connected with Miles Muro of blessed memory, Dr. Mike Modoc, um, Pastor David Oyedepo Jr. Now, when he started ministry, Pastor Isaac Oyedepo, and a whole lot, Pastor Intia, and a whole lot of men. No, apart from those men, also I was also connected to Fela Drotoye, and a whole lot of motivational speakers, Kule Shorenyo, and a whole lot of them. And also was connected to people also here in the US and all over, doing great things all over the world. So me being exposed to those things at a early age, I remember I can never forget. This started for me when I started thinking about what's the purpose of my life at age 13. I can never forget August, to be
Wow.
precise. August, to be precise, age 13. I can remember that memory came to, like, just started thinking, like, what is the purpose of my life? And when did this happen? It happened in church at a youth convention, August, and I started thinking, what's the purpose of my life? What's the one thing I want to have? And I want to just chase after it all my life, and I started, worrying and discovering myself, and started, thinking about, oh, what do I want to do? How do I want to chase after my life? So that became a compass for me, like what channels my direction. Because so many people in the world now, so many young people in the world now just are so confused about where they want to go. So everywhere they get to, it seems like the place they are going to. You understand? If you don't know where you're going
We are
to,
going to.
everywhere will seem like the place. You
Everything looks
understand?
like it.
Yes. So if you want to come to the US now, and you don't even know where you're going to, just get to the airport and just enter any plane. And plane takes you to anywhere. You're just like, oh, I'm there. No. But if you know you're coming to the US, straight you're going to board a plane to the US. You land in the US, then you have gotten to the US. So I had where I'm going. I'm not where I am. I'm not where I want to be yet. But I'll tell you that I'm on the path. And I've seen amazing success on what I'm doing. But it was nice for me to be able to discover, okay, this is where I'm going to, this is where I want to be, and this is how I want to choose, pursue my life. And that's how I was able to discover purpose.
That's an amazing story, a familiar story to me. But I want to ask a question. Why do you think a lot of people still struggle to encounter purpose? If you still go out there, you see a lot of people that they go as it goes, they live as life goes. The mantra is just to make money, and as long as you make money and you're fine, who cares about purpose? You're making the money and you're okay. You're able to feed yourself and feed your family. Why do you, but some people are still really struggling and they really just want to know, is life more than this for them? Why do you think it's not easy for some people and some people just find it easy for themselves?
So, why some people don't have, they've not been able to discover purpose and they just want to make money, is self-discovery. Like, you stay at a particular point in time and you need to, self-discover. You need to self-reflect. If you're not doing that yourself, you're just doing yourself a great disservice, right? People don't self-reflect. They don't think. Now, we are all on this earth to serve a purpose. Your purpose is not to make money. One part of your purpose can be to make money, right? Yeah, you want to make money, you want to be rich, but there's a reason why you are here. There's always a reason why you are here. And I'll tell you, everybody here, your reason always tie back to serving humanity. Honestly, because even the person who created us and brought us here, it was a service to humanity. That's how we were created. And everybody has created also were also serving, right? No matter what religion you even if you're an atheist, right? Everything on earth that was created that you are enjoying on earth is created to serve you. For example, the tree is there to pray to serve you. The tree is breathing out oxygen, and you are breathing in the oxygen. So that tree is serving you. So you two are here to serve someone. You are here to your life is to serve humanity, right? So if you want to chase money, you make those money. That money is also for you to use, one, to serve yourself and your family, also to extend that hand to serve people. That's why you see so many people, when they don't have what they will pack money and say they want to start a foundation, they want to start empowering people, because you have to give back to the society that made you. Do you understand? So for people who have not self-discovered yourself, you have to do a self-discovery and think like, what am I here to do? And to me, I tell people that it's very easy to know what you're here to do. People say, I don't know about it. I said it's one of the it's to some people it's not easy. You understand? But if you sit down well and self-reflect and think well, read some books and channel your path, you will see how the answers will start just coming to you immediately. And some people, they will get the answers and they will be like, oh, how do I start? There's no roadmap to how do I start. You start anyhow. You start from somewhere. A baby that started walking today, you start from taking one step. And one step after the other, before you start discovering it. I tell people, and I say it emphatically, that no great man or no great business on earth started great. Nobody. Even the richest man on earth today, Elon Musk, they didn't start without failure. So don't think that the first day, the first video you launch on Instagram, the first business you do, it will blow or will do well. Even if your business do well on the first day, be careful, run from that business. That business is not a good business. Because you know what that would do? Imagine you start a business today and you started doing well, started making all the billions of naira. No, that's to show you that you are even in the wrong field. Why? Because at every stage of failure, you are learning a lesson. At every stage of failure, you are learning a lesson. And as you are learning a lesson, you are going to, try and, build a knowledge that no classroom will ever teach you. And that's what I've learned in life. Every stage I am always learning a lesson. Every relationship, every business failure I've made, every money I've lost, everything I've lost is always a lesson. And as I continue to learn the lesson, it's like you can't find in any book, right? Because your own story will be unique to you. So if you start taking that first step, you start learning a lesson and you start learning from it, and you start growing and start growing and start growing. Before you know it, don't worry. 10 years, you might even still be at it in 10 years. You have not even made it. Keep on going at it. One day, the star will shine on you. So
Wow.
that's how to discover yourself.
That's like a master class already on purpose. So let's talk about you. While you said a lot of amazing things there, I just want us to go deeper and using you as a case study, discovering your purpose. How did it start from you? What was the first step you took after you were sure that this is the way you wanted to go? So how did you go about it after the discovering of purpose? What was the next step for you?
Okay, awesome. So for me, can you hear me? Can you hear me well?
Clearly, I can hear you clearly.
Because my Alexa is saying something. Alexa, stop. It brings out a program every time. So how did I discover a purpose for myself? Like I said earlier, I from the age of 13 started, listening to messages, going to youth programs and listening. And from there, I discovered, the things that God has, proposed for me and why He has sent me. And one thing is that sometimes your purpose is always tied to your passion, right? It ties together. And before you know it, start exploring, because that thing will make you want to continue to do more. Even when people say, what you are doing is very stupid, because it is what, one thing about life is that what makes sense to you might not make sense to the world. The world might not see it. It's you that you will see it. It might not make sense to the world, but when you continue at it, don't worry, the world will adjust. They will later see it. Do you understand? So I, discovered purpose. I saw what I was supposed to do, and if I really want to go spiritual here, sometimes in Winners in Shiloh, I gave a Shiloh sacrifice. Sometimes in I think in 2009 or 8, I took my phone, and they were saying give Shiloh Caravan, and I dropped my phone. At that point, imagine you went to church and they said give Shiloh Caravan, and I don't have money, I don't have anything, and they said drop what is most valuable to you. Some people were dropping their shoes, some people don't know me. The only thing I had was my phone, and I remember my SIM when I dropped my phone. So I went to church that day with phone, and I didn't come back with phone. You know, and the reason why is that, and the reason why I love that, even though you're not a Christian, you are not you're not a Muslim. One thing is that in this life, we tend to tie our life to material things. There's nothing I can't give away in my life. I can, if you ask me for anything, like if I see that, okay, listen, I will, if as long as anything you can't give away, that means that thing is your God. That means you worship that thing. So there's nothing I can't give away, because anything you have here, you made it. And if you made it, you can always make it back. So I discovered myself. I gave that Shiloh Carousel, which was a phone, and I had love for tech gadgets. I just love it. I just love playing with tech. I love it. And, I went to undergrad. I went to, into university, and I started a project in my university then with tech devices. And on and on and on, I started, collecting tech devices in school, started repairing some, started reselling it, and business started from there, right? So from there, I knew that my purpose was entrepreneurship. I just love everything, you know, entrepreneurship, like doing something, like making money, building a business, doing something. And that really just resonates with me. Now, after I started doing that, I also see that I have a passion for, humanity. So because one thing I do is that when I'm idle, I just go and go and go. Then I'll just go and search where to volunteer, where to volunteer,
Wow.
where to volunteer. I will start searching where to volunteer. Where to volunteer. Nobody's chasing me. Now, when I sit down at home, during the break, I will not go home to when the school's over. I'll not go home. I'll stay in school. I'll just look for things to do in the community in Ogumosho then, because I went to Lautech. Now, so that continued. I started doing business. I remember my first business. I started with 10,000 naira. Built a shop with wooden, and I started doing business. That's why I saved a lot of money, and I was able to fend for myself, pay for school fees, and do so many other things when I was on campus. And when I left school, so at that time when I was leaving school, I knew what I was going to do. I knew that, and let me tell you, to know you how important that purpose is, me discovering myself was so important to me, because I discovered it at the right time. I was a science student in school, in secondary school. I studied physics. I studied science. Now, why did I study science? I was lost then. And because I was so smart and people, brilliant, they would say like, "Ah, you are brilliant." So anybody that is
Science
brilliant and you
student.
are a science student, and they said I was going to be the head boy then. So I remained in science. When I know that I was just in science because I want to be the head boy. Now, I stayed in science all through, and I got to university. My first year, they gave me physics. I was like, physics. I was like, physics was my course I didn't even appreciate at all in secondary school. I just did it because I could read and pass. I just read and pass. Just got 60, 70, 80, pass. When they gave me in my first year, I was like, man, I'm not going to do physics, because I know my part, that my part is business. Like I see what I do. I just love to do things that bring, one, the best out of people, and also do something that just, bring money, and just, build something from up the ground. Because that's it. If you want to start something, I just love doing it. So I found out that there was accounting in Lautech, which Lautech was a tech school. It was a school that was just known for science. So it was funny that there was an accounting school in a tech school. That was unbelievable. I was like, accounting, tech school. Hey, that's not possible. So I tried, and then you have to just get a particular GP to cross to accounting. So I tried my best to get a very high GP in my first year and cross to accounting, because I knew that that was where my path is. I knew that, and that helped me, channel my path. So I went to accounting in my second year, and boom, and I told God, if you really want me here, let me pass this accounting, even this first year. Let me pass with first class because I've never done anything accounting in my life. I don't even know what balance sheet or credit, debit and credit is. Let me, and my first year I had a first class. You know,
Wow.
I had a first class and I ran through because I had a very low GP, like a mid GP, not really high in my first year, but I started having a first class from first year, from second year on accounting, run onto my final year. I never scored below 50 from my second year up until my final year. So that means I never had a D in any of my courses I graduated. So that was to tell you that I discovered that was my path. And immediately I finished, I went straight into banking. And I knew that. And that was where I started building connections, knowing people, you know. And in 2020, when COVID hit, during COVID, I sat down in my house and I'm like, wow, I can't, keep doing this bank job. This is an opportunity for me to, expand and explode, and I started doing business during COVID and my business blew. Like everybody started buying gadgets then. I started importing gadgets and everybody started buying all the gadgets I had in mind. Because when I was in the bank, I used to have a side business of my gadget that I used to do when I was in school. So I still kept it. I kept on doing it. So all the items I had sold out. My estate then, all I had delivery bikes rushing in, coming out, always picking deliveries. We were packing deliveries, and sending it out. Everybody was buying gadgets. And I made so much money. I was like, man, I'm not returning to the bank after that. I just resigned straight. I remember my manager was saying that, don't resign. You are one of our great employees now. Don't resign. Don't resign. I said, ma, I am going. And I left, and after I left, everything it was like, I think that was a turning point for me because it was one of the most difficult points, but it was a turning point for me because after I left, everything blew and I started, making money. I know I was earning how much then in the bank, maybe like 150,000 and 200,000 naira as a banker, Then when I left the bank, I was able to not even 10x, 20x that money every month. I was able to 20x that kind of money every month. I was making that money. And when I was in the bank, I couldn't afford a bicycle. I was planning to buy a bicycle because my estate was far from my house. So my estate gate was from my house. So I was like, when I'm going to work, I'll ride bicycle from my gate to the estate. I will drop the bicycle. When I'm coming back, I'll ride bicycle back. But when I did that, took that step, I was able to buy not one but two cars, right?
Wow.
Which was which was great. And then after that, I was like, man, I think my life is is international, so I need to take my journey out of Nigeria, and that's how I just came here. And so every decision I took, at every point of the way was because I was able to discover purpose from the onset. So it was like I already knew the path I was going to go. It was easy for me to start making decisions. For example, I would have remained in Zenith, the bank till day if I didn't know where I was going. But I knew that place was just a passage, right? So it didn't make me spend so much time there. I just moved. I moved because I knew that okay, I can't spend so much time. I moved. When I was making Nigeria, I was making so much money. Some people were like, when I was trying to travel, some people were like, why are you traveling? Stay in Nigeria now. What are you going to do? You are making, see, you are even, but no, I moved. Now, what I was doing in Nigeria then was even joke. Now, what I'm doing now, I've been able to 10x what I was even doing in Nigeria then. You understand? So,
Wow.
that's how it is because I knew where I was going. So it was easy for me to start, and the goal for the laptop business then for devices was not to actually even make profit, right? It was to impact people. And that's here coming to the US made me really start that because in Nigeria it was very difficult for me to start non-profit and be impacting people with devices because man, that was my source of livelihood. You understand? But here I have registered a non-profit, I've started it, and now the profit-making arm of the business is now funding the non-profit. Do you understand? So which makes it easier. So we're now impacting schools, going to schools, impacting people and whatnot. But on the podcast you said on the my Instagram page you said me teaching finance. That's also a passion of mine. I just love motivating people. I love teaching people finance, and that's what even drew me to the bank. Do you understand? And and now I start teaching people finance. We built a product on financial literacy. I have over a team of 10 people running that thing. So it's a whole lot of things. I can spend 1 hour sharing the story of how we
There
started.
is an important thing I really want us to speak about before we actually move on.
Mhm.
Um, your story is actually motivating. Actually, I see how you say you once you were sure that this is what you wanted to do in your life, you pushed and you went all out for it, which is what all of us need actually. We want to succeed in what we call purpose or passion. But you took some risks. I wanted to be sure the risks was risky. You were in Zenith Bank. There was chance for growth. Was he? People have this kind of problem a lot. I could remember then back in school, I was also struggling with, doing this, leaving that. And, people would be like, don't do, you can do the two together. Don't, don't shake it, don't do this, don't do that. Uh, how did you get that kind of confidence to be sure that, no, this is the way, forget, I'm not looking back? I mean, who does that? How were you able to get that level of confidence? What were in place for you
So
to know that you have to leave this that seems secure? That seemed like there's no Nigeria. There was no the job market was a lot
terrible.
of people were ready to take your job.
Yeah, terrible.
Just share some light to us about that.
So what I would say is that, it's very difficult, right? And like I say, the people who win big in life are people who are big risk takers.
Mm,
Honestly, it's simple. If you want to
wow.
win big, you have to
Mm,
be a big risk taker. So, and the people I laugh about that don't like to take risk is that you are still single, you are not married, you have no kid, no, no, you are still young, you are between like 18 to maybe 25, 30, and you don't want to take risk. So when will you take risk? When you're
mm,
35? No, that is the time to take. That is the time to
mm,
fail,
mm,
right? Though I'm not saying that you just see one risk and just jump into it, and no. So I take calculated risk, right? It might look like a big risk, but I already took it. Now, was that risk dangerous? It was very dangerous. It was because what? That job, before I got that Zenith job, if I tell you what I did, you will open mouth. Zenith job, I printed my CV, printed like 20 CVs. Left, I was staying in Ikorodu, left Ikorodu, took a bus from Ikorodu to Ajose Adeogun in the island. If you know where Ajose Adeogun is, that street where Zenith used to design the logo, the every year they used to do that lights,
nice,
right?
yeah.
And when
It's popular in the movies.
yes, I started from the beginning of Ajose Adeogun towards on the way to Lekki. I started from the beginning of that street. Me and one of my friend Prince, we started sharing our resume from the beginning of that street, and I started sharing it. I shared it in supermarket. I shared it everywhere. Do you understand? Now, after the last building on Ajose Adeogun, I don't know if it's still the color today. It's a brown building, top brown building, like 7, 8 floors. And I entered that building, me and my friend Prince. Inside that building, there are different offices. There's Renoy was there. Was it Renoy? Yeah. Renoy Wando was there. So many companies and Zenith HR, because Zenith has their own headquarters there. But Zenith HR was in that building. I think the office space was not enough for them in that place. So they moved the HR to that building. So we're entering the elevator one by one. So when we got to the 6th floor, Zenith HR were there. I had my last CV on me that I wrote. I have used it to work mathematics when we were writing. So that was the only CV that was left. And I submitted it to the security. It was like he took our CV and we left. Now, after we left, they called my friend Prince the following week. They didn't call me. So I followed him. I was like, and we got there. They called him to come and write test. I got there. I told him that. I now told the security, we both submitted our resume the same day. They called my friend, they didn't call me. Why? The man said, that means they don't like you now. I was like, but I studied accounting. He studied chemical engineering. So me that studied accounting should be the one. The man said they don't. So I went downstairs to stay at the Mama Cass. I don't know if he's still there, but my Cass restaurant. I sat down there. He was writing his test. After like 2 hours, he came down and he said he failed the test. That I should not mind them. It's just rubbish. I'm like, okay, no problem. And after like 2 weeks after, they called me. I was like, they've called me. I went to write the test. Very long test, 2 hours test. And I passed the test. I passed the test. They called me for interview. I went for the first round, second round, third round, fourth round. This was the time I needed a job badly. And they asked me to resume K2 branch. And I resumed. Do you understand? So it took me pain to get that job. So me resigning that job was a very big risk. Imagine a job you got with that kind of, and 2-3 years after you wanted to resign. It was but I knew that job was the buffer. I needed a buffer. I needed to pay my rent. I needed to do some other certain things. Immediately I was able to create a buffer. I was like, now is the time to take a big leap. So I'm not saying anybody like you should take your risk. I'll be taking, you can create a buffer for yourself. You can say, okay, it's very difficult for me taking the risk now. Let me create a buffer. I'm going to do this job for 3 years. 3 years. I will create a buffer for myself. I will save enough. I won't spend any kind of money. I won't buy any clothes. I won't buy any shoes. Christmas, I won't go. I won't go out. I will sit down in my house, not spend money. The only money that I will follow my colleague. I will not spend any money transportation. I'll follow my colleague so I can save money. Immediately, he said my buffer is 3 million naira. My buffer is 2 million. My buffer is 1 million naira. Immediately, I gave the girl a buffer. Take your buffer and go and do what? And make sure that what you want to do is already, one thing that the reason why I was also able to take my step was that it was my side also. It was also doing well. It was also doing well. I was saying that this thing, that means if I put more time into this thing, it can do better.
It can do better.
Do you understand? So I was like, okay, I took that risk. Though after I took that risk, the first month was like, I was like, what did I do? Because I had 30 big personal problems that came on the same day, August 2nd or 3rd. I can never forget. On the same day, everything happened. On the same day, everything happened. But that's why I say that if you know where you're going, no challenge can. So that day I just had a challenge, and I just quickly started solving those personal challenges. Our phone crashed. All the phone we had, the customer database crashed. Boom. The person I was going to manage his office, we're sharing office together, said I should leave because what? I had too many customers coming to look for me. So, so many things just happened on that day. And I'm like, okay, everything happened on the same day. But at the end of the day, like I said, if you're able to take the risk, calculated the risk, you had your buffer. Because what saved me that time was the buffer. I told you. The buffer, I had the buffer. I went to pull out my buffer, started putting in something in it. And I had good credibility with one person in the market. They gave me a new phone. I paid him back over a period of time. And before I knew it, everything was good. Do you understand?
One of the things that I feel is important from what you're saying and from the few things I've learned is when to make decisions. One of the things they say that makes or mars or destroy a life is decision.
Yes.
And you were making decisions at the right time for the right thing. And that was one of your secrets, right?
Yeah.
How did you know it was high time you left Nigeria for US? Making that decision, was there no fear that what you have built your baby, leaving all of this behind, going to a strange land that you are not even sure what might be? Though most times it's always blossom, always good for a lot of people. What prompted the decision in the first case? That would be the question for that.
So I knew that one, I love to travel. I love to travel. And by the time I was leaving Nigeria, I had never even entered a plane before. Right. That was the plane that took me out of Nigeria was the first plane I ever entered. Do you understand? But in my mind, I've coveted traveling. I see myself on plane, traveling everywhere. So that was why I coveted. And like I said, if you have a goal, you know that this is what. And I know that my goal was, my vision was a global vision. It was not just me just staying in Nigeria. I want to do it in Africa. I want to do it in, South America. I want to do it. That's my goal. So, but that can only be quickly achieved if I'm able to, expand my network. So by the time I was also, everything was going well in Nigeria, I knew that this is not also the place. And then, like I said, that's what helps you make your decision. Because if you know that this place is you are making so many strides right now, and like I'm comfortable. If you don't have a plan or a vision, you will not know that it's time to move.
Mm.
You will not know.
Yeah.
Do you understand? You will not know it's time to move.
Mm.
But I knew it's time to move. Do you understand? I knew it's time to move. And that's what make great leaders, honestly, and great
Mm.
businessmen, because Elon Musk built PayPal, right?
Mm-hmm. And sold it.
PayPal was doing well,
Mm.
but he sold it. Why?
Mm.
Because he knew that was not the main place.
I
That's what he
think that
was
was
doing.
one of his own first booster
Yes,
to generate his money to start something
yes,
new.
yes. So that was just to create a buffer for him
Mm.
to create money and start
Mm.
building SpaceX, right?
Mm.
Now, and he started doing it.
Mm.
Do you understand? He built PayPal, sold PayPal, and you know used money to build SpaceX. But he knew that he had it in him to also own a car industry, to a car company, and something very innovative, and also, control the news media, because now he has the power to now start achieving all his dreams. But
Mm. Mm.
imagine if he just said, okay, PayPal is making a lot of money. I'm going to stay with PayPal. I'm going to build this company till it
Mm.
grows,
Mm.
right? And the company PayPal now became 1.8
Mm.
billion dollars today, and he's enjoying himself. That means that what he is never going to be who he is today, because he will have just been
Mm.
comfortable with PayPal. But the right time to know when to move. Now, when do you know when to move? You can only know when to move when you know where you are going.
Mm.
If you don't know where you are going, you will not know where to move. Because when you even get to one place, you will think that's your final destination.
Mm.
When you are just in a corridor, that is just the journey. You understand? If you make $1.2 billion now, your journey might be $400 billion. But if you make mistake and stay at that $2 billion, that's where you will be. So you need to move. Do you understand? So he moved and boom. Do you understand? And and that happened. So, and that's what happened with me also, honestly. And like I said, all these things has been shared by great men,
Mm.
that I've learned from. And I know that I've had this in my back mind, some of the decisions I still take today, even right now in the US, some people say you are stupid. But I know that I know what I'm doing. Do you
Mm.
understand? Because I won't take short-term gain, you know, to mar long-term rewards, right? I would take, I'll put my eyes on the price because I know where I'm going. Do you understand? I don't care whatever anybody is doing. Even if I have people that are making $1 billion now, I don't care because I know where I'm going, right? If I don't know where I'm going, that's when I'll be chasing after people. I'm saying, hey, no, 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 I want to be there. I want to be there. No, 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 no. Do you understand? Even where I am now, it's still a journey because I still know where I'm going. And I'm working day and night to ensure that that place I'm going, we definitely get there.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah. Can we
understand?
help you? Yeah.
Yes, we definitely get there.
Thank you for that.
Thank
That's
you.
super amazing. Honestly, I could say we are done because this is more than enough. But I just want us to take this opportunity to what we might have paid for because we're able to get you on this platform. We should just take a part of it. I know your strength in finance and how much you how much of intelligence you have in finance. I want you to share. A lot of people are very one of the things I've noticed about life is for you to get a breakthrough in next level, a risk has to go in. But some people love their money so much that they are not willing to risk it to gain more. And I think that's one of the important things that has to happen for you to multiply, to easy to multiply, or for multiplication to happen with your finance. What will you say are the safest way to invest or to be financially intelligent in this present day as a young guy trying to build a buffer for the future dream or for the future you're working on? Because I think money is important in every future, in every dream, in making something big. Money is important. Buffer, like you said. So, would you help us in that area where I feel a lot of people might be struggling with?
So very good. So one thing I would say is that I'm happy to host I think I'm going to do that sometime soon. My team is working on that. Host a finance session on how to create a buffer for yourself.
Mm.
Um and that even if you want to run a finance session, you can always reach out to me. I'll definitely do it for free.
Wow.
And run a session, because people book a session with me and they pay for it. And yeah,
Yes.
but I'll do it for free, especially for your community. And
Thank you
um
for that.
yeah, if you go on my Instagram page, you see a book and exploration call.
Hmm.
Because people were booking so much, they were chatting me, and that's why I even put it there. And I was like, okay, so that I can use a calendar, because it was becoming too much. But one thing I'll first say is that, one, financial literacy. Go on ango.com. There's a whole lot of classes there you can learn. Because one thing you want to first do is that first learn everything about finance.
Mm.
Finance now, you don't need to go to school. And the one thing you can do for yourself and your family and your children, unborn children and yourself, is to first know what financial literacy is. I say to people, I used to advise people, I say it. Don't wait till you hit 1 million or 2 million or 5 million, 10 million before you know how to manage money.
Mm.
Know how to manage money from when you start earning 1,000 naira or $1,000. Because it's how you manage $1,000. That's how you manage $1 billion. It's the same thing. It's just zero. It's just zero. Honestly, the way you manage, see, $1,000 is the same thing as $1 billion when it comes to financial literacy or money management. If you can't manage $1,000, you can't manage $1 billion. Even in the Bible, you say, he who is faithful with little, can be trusted with many, right? So
Mm.
if you are faithful with that little, I'm telling you, you'll be able to manage $1 billion. So the way to create a buffer for yourself is first to be, to have knowledge. You know, Knowledge is power. Open that knowledge gap and learn. And I say it, go to ango.com and go and learn. Go and take the free courses there, or the paid courses. It's just 5,000 naira. Take the courses. You understand? Then another thing is that you need to learn how to save. Saving is like a life hack. Life hack. You need to learn how to save. I shared a video of how people can save. You can automate your saving. You can, even if you are not disciplined, you're somebody that that you used to break your savings. I said, go and use the traditional method, Colo. If you are in the US or in Nigeria, go and do iron one, the one that is very difficult to open, not the one that you can break easily. No, the one that before you open it, you have to carry it to a welder and they'll be sawing it like this before you can open it. So that it makes you disciplined. You need to that discipline is key. Then when you save, if you are somebody who save through all these investment apps, you save through that place. Now the next thing is investment. Investment is key, honestly. Investment is key. Now, finding ETFs, finding bond, finding stocks, finding the kind of crypto that is safe that you can put your money into. There are three kind of investment. There's a low risk investment, medium risk investment, high risk investment. You know, I used to say diversification of portfolio, diversify your portfolio, put more money in low, put like less of your money in medium, and put low money in high medium risk. Because if you put your money in low, medium, high, medium risk, it can give you a high return. Don't be greedy and go and put your low in high. You will lose all your money. You
Mm.
understand? For example, meme coins. If you put all your savings in meme coins because you are very greedy, you will lose everything and everything. So it's just that financial literacy and knowing these things. The problem of most people in life right now, is information. Some people who have they will have left the level they are now if they have the right information. Some people who have even become billionaires right now, even inclusive of me and you, if we have the right information. Right now, I'll tell you that something is going to happen in another 2 weeks that can make us billionaires. But because we don't know it yet, right, we cannot. But if we know it now and it's guaranteed, and they tell you that this $1,000 will give you, if you invest in this stock is going to launch tomorrow, it's going to IPO tomorrow, and it's going to rally upward to $400, right? Before you know it, we'll become billionaires next year, next 2 years, next 3 years, because we've just put $1,000 in a stock that we never knew. So the power of information, and the only way you can get information is if you have knowledge. Because even if I give you information, if I go to somebody who knows nothing about stocks now, and I say, go and invest $1,000 in stocks, say, what stock? What's the meaning? Because what? You have no knowledge. So the first stage is that go and learn first. Go and know. When you know, then boom, then every other thing will open up to you. So those three things, first, financial literacy, 2, savings, and 3, investment. If you can do all those 3 things, man, your 2025 is good. It's soft. You just start, opening up doors. Do you understand? I can share all other things we can invest money in, but man, time, will not permit us. We can always do a finance session that is more focused on finance. Then we will probably have more people on the call, maybe a Zoom call where we have more people and they can ask questions, and that can be done.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're
I'm
welcome.
really grateful for that. That was super. Probably behind after the call, I'll still have to call you. That thing you said will happen in 2 weeks' time. I was really particular.
No problem.
I was really particular.
No problem.
There is something I want to request from you. I don't know.
Okay.
When you look at your screen, do you see something that you can change your screen with like this? The way I'm doing it.
Let me see. Okay. I exited full screen. Let me see.
Do you see?
Like what's it called?
It's like a layout. I need you to be the only one on the screen because I need you to give like an outro, just saying your name and what you do. But I need you to be the only one on the screen. Or okay, if I can remove myself from the stage, let me.
Okay.
Did you get what I said? You can't hear me because I'm off the stage.
Okay.
Okay, I just want you to do an outro telling
So what
me
do you want me to say?
Hi, my name is Timothy Mowale. I'm currently in the United States. I need that one. It's important.
Okay.
All your big qualification and your
Okay.
Intalk. The name of the podcast is Intalk with Timothy Mowale.
Intalk with what?
Timothy Mowale.
Okay, Timothy Mowale.
Not Tim. I just said that is Timothy Mowale.
Timothy Mowale.
Yeah.
Intalk with Timothy Mowale.
Yeah. So I'm going to leave the stage. You'll not be able to hear me again, but yeah.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Titobi Arelon. I presently live in Missouri in the United States, and I, hold a first degree in accounting and also an MBA here in the US. I, I'm a financial expert, and I also a huge social impact person. I love teaching people about finances. I'm very passionate about it, and that's what I love to do. And I'm here, on the podcast with Timothy Mowale. Nice chatting with you guys.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. I